Hello everybody, welcome to Sin City Living. Jason here bringing you today's video. And for today, I want to answer an email that was sent to us. This was the only email I've gotten in the last couple of weeks, which is why there's really only one new video for this week. Working two jobs, I didn't have a whole lot of time to come up with stuff for you guys. And I try and respond to what you guys want, and I haven't gotten an email, so I haven't really found anything that you guys want to see. So this email, this may be kind of quick because it's fairly basic. This email, he was asking about contract bets. He wanted to know what are some good contract, or what are contract bets, and some of the potential effects of the contract bets and what can happen with the players. Don't forget everybody, by the way, especially with sports season going on right now, if you are looking for an online casino, if you live out of state, someplace you can either play craps, roulette, other stuff really cheap, $1 minimum, to practice your strategies, or someplace you can do sports bets, just check the links down below. The casino I found for you guys, it's really cool. It's really cool. It's really good. And their sports book especially, it's almost dead on in line with the Vegas sports books. So contract bets, well, there's really only two. And honestly, it actually kind of boils down to one. Pass line. Pass line, when a point is marked. If there is no point marked, they can take it up, put it down, whatever they want to do. If the point is marked, however, that pass line bet is a contract bet. Now, of course, they can add to it, we've talked about in the past, but they cannot make it smaller. They cannot take it up or take part of it up. And if they add to it, once the dice roll, that addition is now part of the contract. They cannot pick it up. Now, why is that? Because on the come out roll, there's 8 ways for that pass line bet to win and 4 ways for it to lose. 7 or 11 it wins, 2, 3, or 12 it loses. So 8 ways to win, 4 ways to lose. Once there's a point marked, the odds are now against that pass line bet. There are always more ways to roll a 7 than there are to roll any other number. So if players were allowed to pick that bet up, the casinos would have closed down. Craps wouldn't even be in the casinos, or the casinos would have closed down. Because everyone would just come in and just play $100 pass lines, or $1,000 pass lines, or $10,000 pass lines on the come out roll, because they're going to win 2 times for every 1 time they lose. And then as soon as there's a point, they'd pick it up and go home. So, therefore, it is locked in. It is a contract. They cannot pick it up. It's considered cheating. It's considered cheating, not just in the casino, but in the eyes of the law. Gambling is very, very structured, and there's a lot of laws, at least here in Nevada, based around it. So, if a pass line bet is a contract bet, then so is a come bet. Because once it has passed from the come to the point, that means it has a point marked. Remember, the come bet, the bet itself is basically the puck. So this is basically just a pass line bet with an 8 marked. So it's locked in. Now, odds are not contract bets. You can pick them up, take them down, whatever you want to do. So even if they've done odds all the way over here, now they can't reach this, they better not put their hands in this area, but they can say, hey, I want to take my odds off. Sure, here you go. Or they can turn their odds off. Can't ever turn a flat bet off because it's a contract bet, just like you can't ever turn your pass line bet off because you can't pick it up. Now, the other thing that was asked, let me bring up the email real fast. What happens if the player chooses not to continue? For a variety of reasons. First, he asked what happens if the player becomes incapacitated. Be kind of the same thing if it would be treated the same way as if the player just chose not to continue on. This actually happens. This happens, not the incapacitated part, but this does happen. This happens a couple different ways. The first way, possible way, is that maybe the shooter has to run to the bathroom. It happens. Got to run to the bathroom. And maybe they've been shooting for 10, 15 minutes. They're on an awesome roll, but they got to go. They got to go. Maybe they have IBS, and they just got to run. They got to go. We dump the bowl. All 5 dice are sent to the next person. The next person is now the shooter. However, since we have a point, they are continuing the point. So if they were to roll a 7 out, then that next person will get to shoot again because they were completing the first shooter's point. So they will get to shoot again. Now, if they roll a winner, they've now completed the shooter's point. Even though it would still be the shooter's same roll if the shooter was continuing, they have completed the shooter's point, so now they're making their own point. So if they hit a winner, and then set another point, and then 7 out, well, then we move on to the next shooter after that. But if we pass the dice and they roll a 7, they'll complete the point, then they were completing the previous person's point, and now they may have their own roll. So that would be the same thing we would do if the player somehow became incapacitated, passed out, whatever it may be. So there's tons of different reasons. So sometimes shooters just decide to pass. It's very rare, but sometimes they just decide they don't want to shoot anymore, and they pass the dice. And we dump the ball, we pass it on to the next shooter, and then the other way, and is probably the more common way, the shooter gets cut off from shooting. They're no longer allowed to shoot mid-roll. Generally speaking, it's because they refuse to hit the back wall. I'm not going to use the phrase "can't hit the back wall" because I've seriously, no lie, seen centenarians hit the back wall. I have seen someone who's 102 years old have no problems hitting the back wall. I've seen octogenarian grandmothers have no problems hitting the back wall. Okay, some people have a little bit more difficulty than others. We just move them closer, right? And here's the thing: despite as much as people complain, whine, cry, argue, by the time it gets to the point that they are cut off from shooting, they have missed the back wall multiple times. It's not like they missed the back wall, we warned them, they missed the back wall, we said, okay, you're not shooting anymore. It doesn't work that way. They missed the back wall 2 or 3 times, we say, hey, do me a favor, you gotta hit that back wall. It sure is a fair roll for everybody. They missed the back wall again. Hey, shooter, please, you gotta hit that back wall. They hit the back wall 2 or 3 times, then they miss it again. Shooter, you have to hit that back wall. We have to have a fair roll for everybody. They hit the back wall 3 or 4 times, they missed the back wall again. At this point, they've missed it 5 or 6 times, at least, in the span of like 15 rolls. So they're sitting on like a 1 in 3, 1 in 4 times they missed the back wall. It's just unacceptable. We don't want to hear any excuses. When people say I'm trying, the first thing I say is I am so very sorry to hear that. You might want to see somebody because they're not that heavy. The dice are not that heavy. They're really not. For a lot of times, all they have to do is lower their arc. There are these people that try and shoot this big, high, rainbow arc. Typically, those are dice setters, wannabe dice setters, wannabe dice controllers. But if they flatten it out so they're not dropping straight down, they generally have very little problems hitting the back wall. So by the time we cut someone off, they've missed the back wall so many times it's almost incalculable, and they've been warned 3, 4, 5 times, and then even been given a final warning. So by the time someone's cut off, there's absolutely no excuses. So that'd be another reason that we may pass the dice. Now, here's an interesting one. Every so often, I've only seen this once, and it wasn't a table that I was sitting at, and it didn't have that many players, but every so often you get a table that we cut off a shooter, and they decide they're going to try and be clever, and they all decide they want to pass the dice. Because they think if they pass the dice all the way around, that we're then going to let the person shoot again. It doesn't work that way. If they're cut off from shooting, they're no longer allowed to shoot, period. Not at this table. Doesn't mean they can go to another table. Doesn't mean that once the dice have gone around, everyone's shot, and it gets back to them, they can shoot. No, they're not allowed to shoot. Not allowed to shoot for, at the bare minimum, a day. Bare minimum. They're not allowed to shoot. They can still play, but they can't shoot. So I've seen players that decide they're all going to pass the dice till we get back to the original shooter that we cut off. Cool. We drop the stick, say no shooter, no game, and we're done. We lock up all the money. We lock up all our working stacks away. Players still have their bets out, or we might even hand all their bets back that are not contract bets. Leave the point marked, and contract bets are still there. And there we go. Then we just sit and wait. So that is how the contract bets are worked. Those 2 contract bets and the pass and the don't pass. Now, here's a couple of the small things as far as shooting goes. We've seen this. The don't pass player, they may hit a winner, lose that, point is off, and they pass the dice. Cool, no big deal. But I've also seen a player pick up their don't pass because you're allowed to. You can pick up your don't pass. When they do that, we don't move the dice. We'll just ask them, are you passing the dice? No, I still want to shoot. Maybe they've got place bets or something. No, I still want to shoot. Well, since you picked up your don't pass, and you're not allowed to put it back down, you're going to have a pass line bet. You cannot place the point on the line, no. You're going to have a pass line bet. So you got to put the pass line bet, because it's just like putting a come bet. You got to put the pass line. Otherwise, we'll dump the ball and move on to the next shooter. So I hope this answers your question. Thank you very, very, very much for sending it to us. We appreciate it. And we will catch you guys next time. Bye now.